Hello, Mark Rudd Larsen here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today, my guest is Ben Smith. Welcome, Ben.
Hello, how you doing?
I am doing great. Even better, we've been just having a great conversation before we started the podcast here. Ben, we haven't known each other very long. I mean, it's been relatively short time. So Ben, tell the audience a little bit of background about Ben.
Yeah, well, we met on, I think I was watching I was on Instagram, you said starts talking about, I don't know, diet or exercise or something. I go, "I gotta talk to this guy."
Uh huh.
And that's how we connected, yeah, and then about me, I've been studying health for I've been interested in health since I was a kid, probably.
Okay.
When I was younger, I was a kid, I'd ask questions all the time of my dad. I'd say, "Dad, why is the sky blue? Why is the grass green?"
Uh huh.
I'd ask I always wanna know why.
That's cool.
And he would be like, "Do you want me" he'd get mad at me. My dad,
Oh,
yeah, he was he would get annoyed because 'cause I'd ask so many questions.
that's
And
too bad.
and I'd say he'd go, "Well, you want" I'd answer the question. I go, "Is it because of the chlorophyll in the green or in the ground?" Or well, 'cause
You kind of knew.
I was always interested.
Okay.
And he said, anyway, but that started my interest in this stuff.
Okay.
And, so fast forward, I went to college. I studied biology and sociology, psychology. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I got out of college and, I started cleaning carpets for a living.
Okay.
And I liked going around to different places, that was back in the early '90s, and it was fun.
Mhm.
Then my friend said, "Well, you wanna buy my auto detailing business?" And I'm like, "Okay." I
Uh-huh.
knew I knew nothing about auto detailing. I'm like, "What is" cleaning cars, I wax a car or wash okay. The first car I did was horrible.
Well,
The guy
first
was
one.
not the guy was not happy, and, so I've been doing that for 30 years. And, I've probably cleaned 5,000 cars.
That's a
And in
few.
Yeah, in the meantime, I was always kind of interested in health, and then what kinda really changed things, my, one of my sisters got diagnosed with the C word,
Oh,
and, back in '05, I think,
okay.
'04, and I didn't know anything about it. I knew it was genetic or maybe it was genetic. I didn't know what I know now, not even close.
Okay.
And I thought, "Okay, that sucks,"
Yeah, it does.
The doctors will help her and blah, blah, blah. And then she passed away in 2012.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
so I started studying religion and Buddhism, and, I wanted to know, like, where she went, I mean, I'm like,
Yeah.
I wanted to know everything. And so I started studying health and, biology, and I'm like, well, I would just I ask questions like, "Hmm, now she passed away from this. Does the body want to die? No." And so
Mhm.
I would ask all these questions all the time, trying to put pieces together. Okay, so
Mhm.
doesn't want to die, then why is this happening? What's the
Right, right.
reason? So I read hundreds and hundreds of articles
Wow.
trying to figure it out.
Sure.
And so I go, okay, so why does this do this? Why does this do this?
Yeah.
And I read about water. I read about cholesterol, inflammation. I read about immune system, how it works. I started reading about everything
Mhm.
and realized it all was connected.
Yes.
It was all connected, and the body doesn't do anything for no reason, meaning that there is zero, and I mean zero possibility that the body does something for no reason. So it's not an accident. Every second of every day you're alive, the
Okay.
body is doing exactly what it needs to do
Interesting.
all the
Okay.
time. Does that make
Okay.
sense? All
Yeah.
the time, without question. It's not missing a step ever. And
Wow.
so
Amazing.
when I realized that, I'm like, okay, so let's figure this out. And so read more and more articles. I thought maybe I could become a health coach.
Mhm.
And so I went to a coaching program, which was kind of aligned with my values. It was more along the ancestral way of eating, and by that time, I was like, maybe we should eat like cavemans do. Our genes haven't changed in 100,000 years.
Mhm.
Maybe we should do what we used to do. And
Yeah.
so I thought, eating, fruits, vegetables, meats, local stuff, uh, nose breathing,
Mhm.
drinking a certain kind of water. I've been studying water for a decade because water, you can't, we don't, we probably know 1% of what water can actually do.
Wow, that's amazing. We only
Yeah,
know little.
it's not just water as a liquid, a
Mhm.
solvent.
Right.
It's 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 everything, really. Water's everything. That no and no one I mean, we can go into if you want. No one discusses it, but water is everything. That's it. Water is
I
all
can
there
believe
is.
that.
Water is all there is, and it's everything as far as biological information is concerned, and as far as all information is concerned, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, so I thought, I took the courses and I was like, this is great. This is fun. But I thought, I don't know if I want to be a coach. And my friend said, maybe you should write a book.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so anyone listening, do not write a book.
Okay, that's interesting. Why's that?
it's, it, how do I put this? Do you want, it's excruciatingly difficult.
Really?
Uh, I can't even say difficult. All I can say is excruciatingly
Okay,
difficult.
that says a
Yeah,
lot.
and I thought, "Okay, I'll write a book, that's easy, right? I'll
Uh-huh.
start putting all my ideas together and blah, blah, blah." It's not like that. Now that I've done all these things, I understand the difficulty, and it's monumental, and, I had the first person the answer like this, the first person I went online, and went to some place and said they'd write my book for 500 bucks. I'm like, "Oh,
Okay.
cool," right? One of those kind of
Yeah.
cool things. I'm like, "Okay, that'll be fun." I
Uh-huh.
knew nothing. I thought, "Okay, my book will be written in 1 month." And no. And so, these is a funny story. So, it was just someone online, and so anyway, so I started talking to these people, I think they were overseas, I don't know exactly where, and I
Mhm.
was spewing all the information I knew about, a topic about farming, about water, about breathing, and then they would listen, and then they would put it all into, the chapter and kind of put everything
Yeah,
together, right? Okay.
exactly.
So, after we had a couple, like, probably 2 or 3 sessions, they sent me a, what they had done so far. "Mark, a 3rd grader coulda wrote better." It
Oh,
was
wow.
laughable. Yeah, I said, "Are you serious?" I said,
Uh-huh.
This is absurdly horrible." And they go, "Can we fix it? We can rewrite." I said, "You can't write."
Yeah,
They said, "Are
yeah.
you kidding me?" I said, "Nobody's gonna buy this book. This is atrocious." That was my first lesson with this.
Okay.
And I'm like, so I got my money back. And so I just kept learning lessons. Then I hired another what's called a ghostwriter,
Sure.
and she'd been writing for 30 years.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I paid her a lot of money. And so she started same thing. Because they have to listen to what you have to say. Kind of you have to
Sure,
kind of
yes.
right. You tell
Yeah.
them about a topic, and they kind of go okay, and they write notes so they
Mhm.
can rewrite it into a chapter.
Right.
So I did that with this lady. She wrote her stuff. It was horrible. I'm like, "Ugh,
Wow.
does anyone know how to write?" And she's been writing for 30 years. So she wrote this, it was too scientific.
Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't, emotional enough, it wasn't just kind of free flowing. I'm
Mhm.
like, "Great, so now that sucks."
Hmm.
Then I hired another ghostwriter.
Oh, wow, you didn't give up then.
Well,
Okay.
I didn't, I'm glad I didn't, but that's what I'm saying, this is very a difficult process. And
Good to
so,
know.
um
Hmm.
she was not a nice lady. She's the one that put the foundation of my book together. So
Okay.
what she did was she like, she said, okay, in the beginning you need to have your story in the first part of the chapter. Then you need to have, what the problem is and then solutions and each. So she kind of put a framework together.
Okay.
And I like, and so, and that was worth the money That cost me $30,000.
That's a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
just for that. And so but here's another problem, Mark. So
Mm.
she got done writing
Uh-huh.
and, I read it, I'm like, "No." There was no emotion to it. So
Uh,
anyone that hires a ghostwriter, let me put it this way, if you can't write, you better not write a book unless you're famous.
Good to know.
Because a ghostwriter, Mark, cannot capture your emotion.
True.
It's they can't capture the feeling of the book or who you are in the pages. And so what I mean by that is that she wrote, but she didn't even know what she was writing because she doesn't understand
Oh,
structured
yeah.
water. She
Makes
doesn't
sense.
understand,
Yeah.
right? I know so much. My knowledge base is so vast that she could write, but she didn't know what she was writing. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I know
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the problem. And so one day, this is a couple years ago when we were finishing up the book, and I called my mom. I said, "Mom," I said, "F it." I
Mhm.
said, I gotta rewrite this whole thing, and I don't give a shit if one person buys this book.
Mhm.
I'll write it for myself. And that's when my book took on its
Yes.
own life because
Yep.
I kinda wrote it with like a an I don't care policy, and, that's when my emotion came into the book. There was humor in the book. It's funny, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what happened.
Yeah. It
That's why
makes
it took
sense.
on yeah, that's why it became the book it is.
Okay.
And so that's what happened. And I created this whole model around my book. So when I was creating the book, for the last, 3 or 4 years, I was creating a model to
Mhm.
describe how disease happens.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's the basis of the book is the ultimate health model. So I wanted a framework for people to follow.
Sure.
Something
Exactly.
a 10-year-old could follow. And
Okay.
that came up with this model that you just follow this green side the best you can,
Mhm.
don't follow the red side the best you can, and
Okay.
go
Simple.
on
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
go on with your life. If you wanna
Yeah.
know the science behind it and the nerdy stuff, then you can ask me or we can talk about it, but there's so many moving parts to it that a 10-year-old can understand it and a professor of biology at Stanford could
Get
understand
better.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much to it. So
Okay.
that's what I did, and, then, last early this year, and then try and promote it. Talk about difficult.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, it was and I thought since I did something unique that no one's ever done before,
Yeah.
that it would
And
take off.
okay.
Uh-uh.
So how did you eventually get it to take off? Because I know it has.
Not really, no, it
Really?
hasn't.
Not really?
No,
Okay.
no, it's still, a handful of people know about it, a year and a
Okay.
half later, and I thought word of mouth would make it take off because
Sure.
it's so different, right? If I wrote a book on calories in, calories out, or something like that, something
Right.
that everyone else has wrote, I would understand if it didn't take off because the message is so overused that
True.
people don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But what I did, creating this model, it's like unlocking the key to your health challenges. It's
Mhm.
follow it and you'll start to get better in some aspect. I thought, how could people not pass that around?
Yeah, you would
And
think.
they do a little bit, but not as much as I thought. And so what
Okay.
I did was I marketed the best I could. I
Uh-huh.
got a publicist, and she put me on some podcasts, and it was okay, but I didn't realize what I know now a year later. I put everything in her hands, and she got me some podcasts, and it was
Okay.
great. But I thought I could get on one podcast and then everyone would know my name after that. It doesn't work that way, as you know. And so
No.
I didn't know that.
Takes time, that's for sure.
It takes time, but I thought since it was so different that it would just
Sure.
spread like
And I
wildfire.
could see that thinking, definitely. So,
Yeah, and that's what I thought. And so anyway, I was with her for a while, 6 months or so, and I thought I just I don't I can't pay this anymore. And so I started marketing myself. And then early this year, I was at a conference with my friend and or I met my friend there and she goes, "Why don't you do an audiobook?" I go,
Mhm.
"God, more work."
Yeah, I see what you're saying there, yeah.
Yeah, more work.
Yes.
But then I thought, wait, my audiobook, because in my print book, I created these cartoon characters.
Mhm.
I created this like cartoon story and this whole story inside the book.
Mhm.
I thought, well, they could do the talking,
Yeah, exactly.
right? They could narrate the whole book.
Yep.
So I had that vision. Oh, they're going to narrate the whole thing. Well, making that vision come together was excruciatingly hard too.
I bet it would be too, yeah.
Between the actors we had to hire, then we had to redo the whole book
Oh, wow.
because it wasn't a narration of the book now. What we
Okay.
did was we turned our book into a movie.
Okay.
Meaning what I mean by that is we made it an entertaining, immersive, engaging experience so people could find health and find it entertaining and engaging as opposed to boring and dry like it is that most people teach. So
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So
Yeah,
if you listen to a health audiobook, they're boring, they're dry.
they are.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, very much.
they're one person narrating it. I thought I don't wanna do that. I thought, "Let's do
Mhm.
something different." And
Mhm.
so these all these characters are talking in the whole book, and they're bantering back and forth, they're joking back and forth, they're
'Kay.
also telling the science back and forth, right? So it's just like the only way to describe it, Mark, is a movie in your ears because you can put this on and you feel
Uh-huh.
like you're there
Oh,
with
wow,
them,
that's cool.
right?
Very
You feel like
yeah.
you're with the gang. Having a science lesson around a in a coffee shop, sitting at a table having coffee.
Mhm.
And so we don't talk down to the listener, we
Very
talk
good.
with them. Does that make
Okay.
sense? So we talk with
It does
them.
make sense, yes.
Yeah, so
Oh,
we create this whole environment and made it into this interactive experience, and then we also put listeners' challenges in the audiobook to get people
okay.
involved.
So, wow.
We made this whole, like, ecosystem creative, like, almost like an immersion AI thing, like, where you put this
Okay.
all and you just close your eyes and you feel like you're part of the gang and you're there, and there is no health audiobook that's an immersive experience like that. So,
Okay.
15 minutes of talking, that's my backstory.
No, that is amazing, and it's, I mean, we need to get this out because, I mean, this is it sounds like the first to be done that way, and, eh and it's kinda like well, kinda like podcasting until you go along and go along, then all of a sudden it's like it takes off and it's like, "So what was the thing that had to take off?" So, but no, I mean, this is just, amazing. I mean, just, so how do you get all amass all this information together and put it into I mean, like we were talking about, like, with your teeth when we before we started, your toothbrush, and you know so much. You know so much. How do you amass all that?
I'm laughing because, it's 10 years. There's billions and billions of bits of information in my head.
Okay.
It's just amassing the information, and the hard part was putting it all together in this simple to understand format that basically almost covers everything you need to know about health.
Wow.
And talk about a difficult
Oh yeah.
task
I can't even
because
imagine.
if you think about it, if you read a book or you look at uh, listen to here, let me grab this really quick. Hold on.
Okay.
If you listen to a health audiobook, they're talking about insulin resistance, they're talking about
Sure.
calories in, they're talking about heart health. No one's ever figured a way to put all this into one
Mm-hmm.
thing, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
that was so this book here, and I love this guy, Ben Azadi, Keto Flex, right?
Okay.
He talks about the keto diet, but what's that
Sure.
say? Keto Flex. He doesn't talk about structured water. He doesn't talk about nose breathing. He doesn't talk about sleep, right? Because they're kind of focused on one thing, and
Sure.
so and I'm
Right.
not nothing against Ben, he's a fantastic guy, but this is just
Just
broken one thing,
just that. Right. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Which makes
And
sense. Yeah.
so to be able to put everything into this health model that really describes every and all conditions from your heart disease to gout to migraine headaches to arthritis to
Hmm.
fibromyalgia to anything you can think of.
Okay.
And that's kind of what I did with this model is I put it all because it all comes from the same stuff,
Hmm.
which is chronic inflammation. But there's other things too. So I kind of put this whole puzzle together for people. So they have now they can finally go, oh, and they understand it in
Which
a
is excellent.
holistic
Yes.
yeah, in a holistic way, instead of the way that's been done for, decades of reductionist mentality where they take one thing out and they
Yep.
silo everything. You have a gastroenterologist, which deals with your gut. You have a neurologist, which deals with the brain. You have a cardiologist. They're all the same thing.
They are. Yes.
They're
Exactly.
all the same thing, and what's happening in the future, hopefully, is people are starting to understand this. It's all the same, it's holistic, and we
Mhm.
still need medicines, you
Yeah, we
know.
do.
Yeah, we still need
Yep.
still need drugs and certain things. Imagine getting your tooth pulled without Novocaine.
I don't want to.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
thank God for these
Yeah.
certain these things. There's other things we don't need.
Yeah.
So we've got to come back to a balance and with your podcast and what other people are doing in these
Mhm.
spaces, it's really, hopeful because people are waking up to wait a second, we can't keep going the same route we're going.
Definitely, I 100% agree. Yeah, there are people finally, it's like light bulb moment. Yeah, very much. So how do I mean, I'm talking about some other stuff. How do people find you in your book and everything else that you do?
So they go to Ultimate Health, wherever you find Ultimate Health Model, I own that.
Okay. Okay.
It's trademarked. So
Okay.
they see that name, no one else can have it because I own it. So,
That's
Ultimate
good.
Health
I just so
yeah,
you know you've yeah.
yeah, Ultimate Health Model at Instagram, at YouTube, at Facebook, at TikTok. I don't do a lot on those other platforms. The only one I really am on is Instagram
Okay.
because it's, to try to, put your tentacles everywhere. That's also why I have a publicist
Yes.
because I don't have the time nor the energy
Yeah.
to put my tentacles everywhere, and
Well,
when people
it's
can
all
do
you
that
get done then. So I mean, that's just
what'd you
yeah.
say?
It's all you get done if you're doing it to all those different platforms.
Well, you
So
can't you run out of energy, you can't
you do.
yeah, you can't keep going like that, so now if I go on to Instagram or one of these platforms, I might respond to a comment or this or that, but I'm not actively on there for 7, 8 hours a day trying to get followers. It's
Mhm.
exhaustingly
It
hard.
is extremely
It's
exhausting.
yeah, I mean, to the point where it's almost impossible, and so that my publicist, thank God for her, is the one that's, pushing us out there, and now I can relax because otherwise it's just, the amount of
And that's
involved.
good because you can concentrate on what accelerate at and what your passion is. And
Well,
it
yeah, and that's the thing. It's coming on podcasts like this, going on another podcast. People can ask me questions.
definitely.
They say, "Hey, so what's structured water, or what's news breathing, or what?" Any question they want, and
Mhm.
if I have an answer, I have an answer. If I don't, I don't. But
Yep.
I'm more the face of the ultimate health model, and I'm the authority and the thought leader behind this.
Okay.
Does that
Okay.
make sense?
It does.
Yeah, so if
Exactly.
someone wants to ask me a question about seed oils or about this or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. My point is that I am one of the thought leaders in this space.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what I do. I'm not there, trying to I'm not a publicist and I'm not, a marketer. I'm a writer and a
Yep.
thought leader. I'll
Yep.
leave the other jobs to other people.
Which I think is very smart, and let them accelerate where they are at. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure I know the answer to this question. Continuing education, learning about this, I would think you probably are.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm because I'm always interested,
Uh-huh.
I'll learn something about, um, one of my things I love to learn about is the mitochondria.
Okay.
Mitochondria are those little things inside the cells that produce energy. You've heard of mitochondria?
Yes.
And so, we're beginning to realize that the mitochondria do a lot more than we thought they did.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I was watching a video probably 3 or 4 months ago, and this guy was a mitochondria expert, and he was saying that well, they're social. Like,
Okay, that's interesting.
yeah, they're actually like social creatures.
Huh.
They come together, they break apart, and if this I found this fascinating.
Yeah, I
One
can see why.
cell If one cell needs mitochondria, then
Uh-huh.
another cell can pack up a mitochondria out of itself into a vesicle, send it through the bloodstream, and it will go to the other cell that
Wow,
needs the mitochondria and deposit it there.
that is amazing. I love that.
I was like, "Oh my god." It's just the body is so, there's it's so I mean, I don't I mean, I'm at a loss for words. It's so
Okay.
remarkable. I'm at a loss for words at what it can
Wow.
do. And
Okay.
and so and the other thing about the mitochondria, why you wanna eat local, is because, first of all, to help the farmers.
Sure.
The farmers,
The ones that are yes.
you're in Nebraska. Yeah, you gotta eat
Yep.
local and
Yep.
stop we've got to, you know, not eliminate the factory farming, but or factory agriculture, industrial.
Yep.
It's gotta be very much reduced.
It
And
does, and it's
we can
very
talk,
much
yeah,
prevalent.
yeah, we can talk about it on another podcast. But the point of that is when you eat local, so basically around the world on the planet, there's
Mhm.
different light signatures.
Okay.
So where you're in Nebraska, you have a different light signature than I do here in California.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because it's a different angle,
Sure.
there's different things growing, there's
Mhm.
different amounts of plants there, animals, people. So all these things interact with light, okay?
Right, right.
Sun, right? So the light signatures get embedded into the plants once
That's interesting.
when they're growing, right?
Right.
And then the animal eats that, and that light signature gets embedded into that animal.
Right, that makes
Now
sense too. Okay.
why is that important? Because the mitochondria recognize the light signatures. So the
Interesting.
mitochondria know where you are in time and space. So
Wow.
so when you eat local, it's going, "Okay, that light signature agrees with us. Thank you."
Mhm.
Right? Because it's the
Yeah.
same light
Yeah.
signature where you are.
Yeah.
When you eat an apple from Chile, that light signature does not correspond to the light signature of your mitochondria.
Wow. Very interesting. Very,
Make
very interesting.
make sense?
It does, but it's amazing. It's like, wow.
I know it's
Um,
wild, but that's the kind of stuff no one talks about or knows about
no.
except a few people. But these are the things that are coming are so important. We need to go back to, um, a more ancestral way of living. We have
I
to go back
agree.
to, you know, local, farmers market. I buy all my stuff at a farmer's market.
Us too. I love farmers markets.
Yeah, because, once again, you're supporting the farmers,
Yep.
you're supporting local economy, you're dealing with the light signatures because the mitochondria
Yeah.
know where you are in time and space.
Uh-huh.
Also, when you when you buy stuff from, Washington apples and you're in Nebraska and they're year-round,
Mhm.
there is, they can store apples for up to a year in these
Wow.
temperature controlled huge warehouses full
Uh-huh.
of liquid nitrogen. They put them in these things and they seal them, but it can be stored there for up to a year
That's amazing. It's that
without
long.
going
Wow.
bad. But the problem with that is it takes a tremendous amount of energy.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
Right, right? So no
Right.
one talks about those things.
Mm-mm.
So
No, they don't.
you don't eat an apple from Washington in January when they're not growing. It's you're damaging the environment. When you're doing
Mhm.
these things out of, habit or convenience, you've really gotta think about it. Also,
True.
when you eat local, here's something else about that. When you eat a fruit out of season, like,
Mhm.
you eat an apple that's out of season, they're put in those freezers or in these temperature controlled environments and they're
Right.
sitting there. They're not they're not completely ripe. They ripen kind of in
Oh, I
these
see what yeah, that
right?
makes sense. I can see them doing that, yeah.
Well, what happens is when fruit is not ripe or vegetables are not ripe, mostly fruit, all the anti-nutrients and the toxins are concentrated because the plant doesn't want you eating it until it's ripe.
Oh, wow, and that makes oh, never thought of it that way either.
I
That makes
know you did. And so when you eat so like, avocado, how you eat avocado, they ripen in the shelves. And
yeah,
I'm guilty of this because I love avocado,
me too.
but the oxalates, which there's a company called oxalates, which are anti-nutrients, are concentrated to a very high degree when they're ripening because the plant doesn't want you to eat it. Once it's ripe, it falls off the tree and lands on the ground.
And it's
All those oxalates are back into the plant,
wow.
right? Because it doesn't need them. It's like it's
Right.
what the plant is saying is, "Don't eat me now because I'm not ripe and my babies, I don't want you eating them now, so I'm gonna poison you with all these oxalates and anti-nutrients." But once it ripens and falls out or, an orange or an apple,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it is,
yeah.
or a berry, there's very, very few anti-nutrient there's still probably some, but there's very few because the plant's like, "I want you to eat this
Yeah.
now, but not when it's not ripe."
Which, when you think about it, makes total sense.
Of course
Yeah.
it does. But
I
all
mean,
these
that
things,
is
it all
wow, I'm
makes
never gonna
sense
think
if
of
you think of if you just think
eating that
about it.
same way again.
It's just these things you just need to think about because everything in nature, Mark, I mean, once again, it's perfect. Whether
Mhm.
it's an earthworm in the ground, burrowing through the soil, creating, earthworms aerate the soil.
They
And
exactly.
what an earthworm does, creates these air pockets in the soil. So when you destroy the soil with traditional farm or industrial agriculture, the reason you have runoff is because there's no aeration in the soil.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? So it runs
Right.
off because the soil has been destroyed. When the soil is fertile with the earthworms and the billions of microbes in there doing their
Mm,
job,
right.
fertile soil, I believe it can hold, and I'm not sure about these exact numbers,
Okay.
up to 8 or 10 inches an hour without flooding.
Wow, that's amazing.
I might be wrong on these numbers. I'm a
Okay.
little off. I know it's way more than an inch. I think it's around 6 to 8 or something
That's a lot
inches
of
an hour
water.
because it's a
Wow.
sponge.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, it would be with yeah.
right? The earthworms are
You
aerating it so it soaks in like a sponge as opposed to running off. So there's all these things I've learned. Like I said, I have all these, I know so much because I've studied all this stuff, just different aspects is so fascinating to me. But the point of this is that it's all connected. It's
yes, exactly, it is.
it's all connected to everything. And then when you destroy the soil, you destroy the plants and that's why people are sick too because there's
Mhm.
no minerals there's minerals in the soil but the plants can't get to them because they're not available to the plant so the
Yep,
plant becomes deficient, the animal
yep,
becomes deficient, you become deficient,
yep,
so it's all a cycle. And
it is.
when we understand all that, and which people are starting to understand,
Mhm.
we're going to go back to a way more healthier planet that once because people are waking up in a grassroots. It's not gonna happen from the top down. It's gonna
Yes.
happen from the bottom up. And
Yep.
with stuff like I'm doing and you're doing, this grassroots campaign is gonna wake people up to, "Oh, I never thought of it like that. That makes a lot
Right,
of
yeah.
sense."
Yeah. No, I mean, you've my mouth, I've said "wow" a lot of times. It just, it's I love when somebody shows me, I think, a different way. I mean, that is just talk about waking up. So do you speak in front of audiences in live au like, go
No, I'd love to. I mean,
do
if
you?
you know
Okay.
anybody, yeah, if you know anyone that's, got a bigger podcast, I'm trying to get my message out there. I
Okay.
appreciate someone like you that really appreciates it, but no, it's been a struggle, Mark, for the last year and a half. I
Wow.
live in a studio apartment in my town,
Okay.
and I'm like, I need to be on stage showing people these things
Yeah.
because 'cause they're so important. But yeah, it's difficult, and with my publicist I have now, that will start to happen, but no, and it's frustrating for me too
I can
because
see that.
yeah, because I'll go to the supermarket or not a supermarket, I'll go to a farmer's market or I'll go and I do go to the supermarket to buy, you know, we have a market where I live here where they have raw milk and,
Wow, and you can get it? They don't try
well,
and
yeah.
put you in jail?
Yeah, no, we have and so I go there, buy some raw milk and some raw cheese and some avocado. But my point is when I go there, it's for me, it's very I wouldn't say depressing, it's disheartening because 'cause I'll see someone's cart full of, like, ch junk or Cheerios or,
Yes,
or
all the
cookies or
yep,
and I wanna tell them all I can't tell them all I know because they would be overwhelmed, but you wanna talk to them or tell them. And you really
you
can't,
do.
and I can't do anything,
Yeah.
and they walk into, like, let's say walk in the grocery store, Mark, and they're hobbling into the grocery store, or they're
Mhm.
overweight,
Yep.
and so for me, it's very difficult because I wish I have the answer, but I definitely have some of the answers and probably most of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
As
I mean,
you can hear by, what I know, it's like
I yes.
and you wanna help people, and I can't, and so
Yeah.
I need to get on a bigger
Frustrating.
stage
Yeah.
for people to hear me, and, I appreciate you saying that because whatever you can do, my publicist can do it's funny, I went to my local media,
Okay.
and they ignored me.
Well, that's really too bad.
I know. Yeah, my local radio station, my local paper. Oh, not to mention, not just because what I told you just now,
Uh-huh.
my book, won, numerous awards, my print book,
Yeah.
right? It won numerous awards.
I saw when I was looking, yeah, I saw that
Yeah,
one.
and my audiobook won a gold award, and I'm the first author in history to ever win 2 awards with the same book.
Wow. Very good.
And so I thought, okay, so since I'm history making, you think they might wanna
You
listen
would
to me.
definitely think they would.
No, nothing. So it's frustrating for me. The
I
reason I
can see
said that
why.
yeah, the reason I said that to you is because I didn't just make some book on calories that everyone's heard before like this
Yeah.
book.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, I love Ben and I don't think it's won any awards. I don't know, but I don't think it has.
Okay.
Mine's won literary awards and no one cares. You know?
It just there's gonna be that point where they're gonna
Oh,
start
I
and
know.
you yes,
We're just gonna tip and we're just gonna tip and then everyone's gonna know my name. Everyone will
they
be calling
will.
me. I know. We're waiting for that moment, but waiting for that moment
Be
is very
very
frustrating,
yeah,
Mark.
it can be very frustrating, that is for
Yes.
sure. So, I mean, I don't know what it takes like a TEDx talk? Could you do something like that?
I could, yeah, if someone would offer it to me, but like I
Mm,
said, I've put out hundreds and hundreds of emails and been ignored from
wow.
all the influencers. Um, Now I did some podcasts last year with some famous carnivore influencers, but it didn't go anywhere. And this year, since I've been doing my own publicity until I just got my publicist,
Sure.
I sent out hundreds of emails saying, "Hey, we wrote this award-winning audiobook, created all this stuff. I'd love to be on our podcast, talk about
Yeah,
it." But I know people are busy. I
but
know these guys
still.
are busy, but see, like, you know who I am now. So
Yes.
you know. So if you went your local whatever, say, "You gotta talk to this guy, period, because you're
Exactly.
on my side." But
Yeah,
other people, they don't know who I am. That's the problem. They don't
yeah.
know my thought leadership and what I know and why I should be on stages and on panels. They don't know what I know.
Yeah.
People like you that could be an advocate for me are what I need
Exactly, yes. Yeah. No,
because
and we need
otherwise
to get the word out everywhere. So,
yeah, and I appreciate that, but otherwise, because with my Instagram, you saw my Instagram, it's got
I
all these
did.
interesting articles and all this stuff, and, but it's just people they it's since it's kinda new information with my model and all these things, they're having a hard time wrapping their head around it, I guess, but
Yeah.
it's what needs to be done, and I think and like I said, I've reached out to all the influencers, that I
Mhm.
can. and, they just ignored me, and so, but
Wow.
like I said, once it tips
Yep.
and once a big podcaster,
Yep.
gets me,
Yep.
it's game
It
over.
will. You'll wonder where all this
So
was at before. Yes.
the what? And then people like then people be saying to themselves, "This guy Benjamin, why didn't we hear about him before?"
Yeah, they will say that.
It's like they'll be late to the game. They're like,
Yep. Yep.
"Holy smokes, this guy knows a lot. Where's this guy been the whole time?
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been
They
here,
will say that.
just
Yeah.
no one's been everyone's been ignoring me."
Yeah. No, I have no doubt, and I have a feeling it's gonna be very, very soon that that's gonna be the tipping point is very close.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
one thing too also is that hopefully, cross my fingers,
Okay.
I sent my audiobook to Audible.
Oh, did you? Okay, that should be good,
Yeah,
I would
they
think.
have this thing called the Audi Awards, which
Okay.
are the Oscars of the audiobook
Sure.
award,
Yeah.
right? And
Heard
every
that, yes.
year they give awards to people, and I'm hoping, since mine is basically creating a whole new genre of audiobooks, that we'll get a finalist or something because no one's ever done anything like we've ever done
Yeah.
in
Y
books.
I mean, that
In audiobooks. So hopefully they'll see that, not to mention the genius of it, how funny it is and entertaining and immersive.
yeah.
No one's ever done a book like that in the health space,
I
an
think that
audiobook.
there's so many win-wins there. I
I
mean,
know. So
yeah.
if I get a finalist or I win an award,
Yep.
that'd be
Then you're
great.
yep.
Then I'm in the bank.
Yeah, you are,
Yeah.
so
So it's just a matter of time. But like I said, for me, it's frustrating because
yeah, the
it'd be
waiting,
one thing
yes.
if I wrote the same thing, but since
Yep.
I've done something and like, we talked the last hour about the conversation, my knowledge base is so vast and so interesting that it's frustrating that nobody knows. That's
Yeah.
all, Mark. It's
It
tough.
is, and you see the way, especially in the United States, the way people are eating. Well, like you said, in the shopping carts, and it's just like, do you not realize? Somebody said if you're awake, everything in the almost everything in the grocery store looks like poison, and it's like it does look like poison. I mean,
It's horrible, and people I think people just they don't understand, and when they listen to my audiobook or they read the book, they'll understand the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is the sugar's not bad. The
mhm,
sugar and the seal, but they're not bad, but what they're doing, and, this is the kind of the crux of the whole problem, is
uh-huh.
they're causing chronic dehydration.
Okay, that's
When
interesting.
the body runs on water, there's a whole feedback loop system that needs to be in place, meaning that everything we're doing in society, whether we're eating processed food, seed
Mhm.
oils, sugar, stress, it's all causing chronic dehydration. And what
Wow.
happens is the body when it thinks it's under chronic dehydration, it goes into a stress mode, and it basically reverts into these processes to conserve water because
Okay.
everything runs on water,
Yeah, yeah,
as you know, right? And
yeah.
the body's 70% water, but by molecule, it's 99 out of 100 molecules in your body are water.
Unbelievable. Wow, I did not know
And when
that.
I realized that, that's I realized that years ago, and when I started studying water, is that if that's the case, maybe I need to understand water the best I can. Because
See
if my
that.
body is basically water
Yeah.
contained in some skin, you're basically a bag of water. And so
Truly, yes. Yeah.
so is the plants, so is the sky, so everything's water.
Mhm.
Well, I realized everything is just water. I understood how important it was. And then
Mhm.
I realized, okay, that's kind of how I put my model together too. Chronic dehydration causes chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation causes chronic dehydration. That all causes chronic stress. That all
Mhm.
causes mitochondrial dysfunction. And it's all a feedback loop.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what's coming to light in the upcoming years. People are starting to understand the mitochondrial dysfunction, immune system, right? Because it's
Yeah,
all
you
coming to this. But what the crux of the problem is because it's all causing chronic dehydration. And you can't go just drink water
mhm.
because when you eat your sugar or you stress out, you're causing more dehydration. Right? So
Wow,
you can't
did not
just
know
drink,
that.
right? So it's
Right.
not just about drinking water, It's about supporting things that cause hydration, which is relaxation, nose breathing, eating proper foods, whole foods like meats and vegetables and fruits and animal products, which is about drinking structured water,
Yeah.
about exercise. All those things create hydration,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it does.
On
Yes.
a cellular level. So, and that's something people don't really think about. It's not the sugar. The sugar's not bad. It's that's causing dehydration. And all
Wow.
the other thing about sugar is that the other reason it's bad is because sugar, when you eat sugar or foods containing sugar, carbohydrates turns into sugar, blah blah blah. Well, and I write this in my book. When you mix sugar and water together, what happens? You create a syrup, right? If you take
You
it
do,
like
yes. Yeah.
cooking. So when I had the aha moment, I thought, if blood is 75 to 80% water
Right.
and you put sugar in there, what's going to happen to the blood?
Yeah, you're gonna make it like a syrup.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the answer right there. So when people have high blood pressure or they have chronic, so they diabetes, you have a syrup. Your blood can't flow like a syrup.
No, no. Not
So
easy.
that's why the body has to take the sugar out immediately. It's emergency. Because if think about it, if you poured a bunch of sugar in water and let it sit there, and you pour more and more sugar in there,
Right.
turns into really thick syrup, it
Oh, it
doesn't
would be
flow
very
at
thick.
all,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
If the body didn't take the sugar out instantaneously and you kept eating cookies and bread and pasta all day
Mhm.
long, then the blood would stop flowing. So it has to maintain a certain thickness of the blood called viscosity.
Right. Wow.
I do
Yeah.
I do a lot of thinking, as you can see.
That's awesome, though. You're making me think right now. It's just
Well, it's
like
one of my downfalls because I do too much thinking, but I love thinking because it's fascinating. I'm like,
it is
"Oh,
fascinating. And
that
I mean,
why does this happen? Why does that happen?" And that's the reason, and so that's what insulin does. It's one of its main jobs is it has to take so they talk about insulin takes the sugar out of the blood, puts in the cell. It has to do that because if you don't, the
you're in
blood will stop flowing and you will die.
you're yeah, pretty seriously. Yeah. I mean, wow, I'm gonna look at that differently from now on. I mean,
That's
wow.
yeah, that's what and so here's the other thing. So the sugar does that, but what else happens when you have stress? Stress creates a system in the body where it starts to feed sugar into the blood because the body thinks it's under attack, so it has to run, right? So stress, whether it's emotional, mental, physical,
Right.
let's say you lost your job. The body can't tell the difference between you losing your job or being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. So the reaction's the same. The blood starts to the body pours sugar into the blood so you
Mhm.
can run.
Right.
Also,
Yeah.
also what it does is when they talk about stress causing heart problems,
Mhm.
the blood prepares to coagulate right into a clot
Okay.
because it
Yeah.
doesn't know if your arm's gonna get chopped off. So it's preparing to clot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Coagulate for because it might get injured.
Right.
So you losing your job, your blood's starting to coagulate and clot because it thinks it's the same stress as being chased by a tiger.
Mhm.
And it's preparing
Okay.
the blood to clot up in case you get your arm chopped off by the tiger.
Right. Right.
So the coagulation, the clotting comes from stress, which comes from sugar, which comes from inflammation, which comes from everything. It's all a
It
circle
really
going
is.
round and
Yeah.
round and round.
Wow. We need to get you out on. You got to be on stages.
I know. Well,
You
get me
just
on
gotta
one.
be.
Help me, Mark. Whatever you can do.
I'm gonna help you any way I can. you got me. I can't even speak.
No,
Eh,
I mean, yeah, I appreciate that, Mark. Because whatever you can do. I mean, this message needs to get out there because
it
people don't
does.
understand what's really going on.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's
it,
that's the thing is that they need to understand these things. And if they want to eat sugar, then go ahead. I eat a couple berries here and there. I eat a couple potato chips, but I know what I'm doing
yeah.
because I follow my model because I created it. So I know how to mitigate those factors. Like
Yeah.
we're on our technology right now, which is causing inflammation. But I nose breathe all day and all night. because I know how important it is. I drink structured water. I take this stuff. You need to start taking this stuff ASAP.
Okay. Inner vitality. I've never heard of that until right now. Okay.
Yeah, it's folic acid. This is the stuff that the microbes in the soil make to feed the plants.
Okay.
They take the minerals and all those things and they convert it into these acids through their digestive systems, which has all the nutrients your body needs, all the minerals, all the vitamins, all the essential amino
Really?
acids, all the fatty acids. All that stuff is contained in this acid because that feeds the plants. So the plants
Yeah.
don't
Okay.
water, they don't just take water and sunlight, get this fulvic and humic acid through their roots from these microbes that are dissolving the minerals in the soil to
Wow.
give them the nutrition. It's a symbiotic relationship between every single thing on the planet.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And we definitely don't. Well, if we know that, we don't take it seriously.
No.
So no, I mean, this is just and I got one question, I guess. So nose breathing. During the day it's probably not too bad to do, but how do you keep nose breathing at night?
You tape your mouth shut at night. There's things called mouth strips, and for people
Yeah.
listening, yeah, it's called Somnifix. If you go to ultimatehealthmodel.com, we have them on our website. They're called Somnifix. They're these mouth strips you put on your mouth,
Okay.
and there's an opening in the middle in case you like freak out in the middle of the night and you can breathe, right? But
Okay,
you just
interesting.
tape your mouth shut. These they're called Somnifix, and you put them on and you wear them, and that's it. And you wear them every night. I don't wear anything now because I've been doing it for so many years that
Just yeah, you're
yeah,
just
my mouth stays shut no matter what. Because if it was open, it'd feel weird. But
I
no,
bet, yeah.
yeah, mouth breathing, and I say this in the book, is mouth breathing contributes to all diseases, whether it's
Wow.
heart disease, whether it's diabetes, whether it's dementia, Alzheimer's, gout, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's. I don't care what it is.
Wow.
It's every one of those is contributes, and it doesn't cause it because everything's connected, but
Right.
contributes to it. So when you mouth breathe at night, you're contributing to your Alzheimer's because you're
And I
causing inflammation,
and I need
and
to
the
take this serious.
inflammation causes stress, causes dehydration, causes and the what basically Alzheimer's is type 3. It's just diabetes in your brain. It's all
Okay.
inflammation. Right? And you get
Right.
plaques in the brain, which causes the blood flow to decrease, causes more inflammation, right? It's all the same feedback loop.
Intertwined, yeah. So
Yeah.
no, I need to do that because my mom died of dementia 3 years ago, but they
Uh-huh.
had put her on a CPAP machine, which she never kept on.
Yeah,
And,
they're hard to hold. Yeah, you're on your face. You can't lay on a side. You can't lay on your face. Yeah, they're difficult.
yeah, she
And
always took it off during the night, so
yeah, yeah. But if she would have kept her mouth shut, well, here's the other thing: is that if you're eating a bunch of carbs all day long,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Your nose will get so it causes inflammation, right? Because
Right,
what we're talking about.
right,
So imagine you're stressed out, you're eating carbs all day long, you're whatever you're doing, you're not sleeping
right.
right. That's gonna cause inflammation. Now, if that inflammation happens in your nasal passages, what's gonna happen, Mark? You
Not gonna be
can't
able.
breathe you can't breathe through your nose.
Yep, yep,
You have to breathe through your mouth, which causes more inflammation. So you need to get rid of those bad factors to
yes.
open up your nasal passages. And the more you breathe through your nose, the more you'll be able to. So
Which
during
that
the
makes sense
day,
too, yeah.
yeah. So during the
Okay.
day, practice breathing through your nose. Like close your mouth. If it's stuffed up, breathe through it anyway. Just
Yeah,
try. If it's
yeah, yeah, just
force
yeah.
yourself to breathe through it, right?
Wow.
And then it will slowly open up. Right? So you have to force yourself. So when I get sick, even when I get sick, my nose gets stuffed up, I
Uh-huh.
keep my mouth shut
Wow.
because I know how important it is. And I might get less air in through my nose or whatever for the couple days or whatever I'm sick,
Mhm, mhm.
but I know how important it is to keep my mouth shut at all costs.
Okay. I gotta take that very seriously. I'm gonna get some of those from you
Yeah.
because, Yeah, I think probably Cheryl, my wife, and I both could benefit. I know we could benefit. I don't know if Cheryl has as much problem as I do, but
Yeah, you have to, and that's the first chapter in the book is that breathing, you could eat all the best food you want in the world. You could drink the structured water. You could take that Fulvic. If you're not breathing correctly, all
it's
bets are
not going to
off.
be
Well,
wow.
you'll still get benefit, but it's you're not. It's the breathing is so when they talk about you have a certain amount of heartbeats before you die, right?
Hmm.
Right. We
Hmm.
have a certain amount of breaths. So
Okay.
think about that. It's kind of I write this in the book is that the reason I have a certain amount of breaths is because when you over breathe from breathing through your mouth,
Right.
most people are breathing like 20 breaths a minute, which is way too many. You want to breathe like 6 breaths a minute. So the more you breathe, the less time you're going to be around because you're over breathing. You've only got a certain amount of breaths before it's over. You
Wow.
want to breathe slow and light
Kind of.
and not as and very not shallow because you want to breathe through your diaphragm, but
Sure.
you want to only breathe a certain like a few 6 or 7 breaths a minute because that way keeps you relaxed. Your
Yeah.
parasympathetic nervous system stays relaxed. But most people are like,
Yeah. Almost like the running. I have been running. Yeah.
yeah, because they're afraid because they're all stressed out.
Yeah. So
It's
do you
all
meditate?
Yep, you meditate too.
Okay. Okay. I was going to say what you reminded me of that when you were saying that.
Yeah,
So
because you meditate, that relaxes you. You want to, get out in the sun every day as much as you can. In the morning, you wanna be in the sun in the morning for I walk every morning and every night for 15 minutes. You want
very
the
good.
sun, you want the morning and people you can go on Instagram, people are starting to talk about this morning sun and, because it gets right. But
Yeah.
you need to get the morning sun in your eyes. And you don't look directly at the sun, kinda indirectly, but the light,
The golden hour.
well, it's where all information is stored. Or
Okay.
not stored, what comes from it's stored in water, but it comes from light. So
Okay.
all your hormones are built from light.
Wow. Did not know that. Okay.
I know, most people don't. That's
Okay.
the precursor, the
Uh,
amino acids and all these things, but light is one of the major components of the precursors that builds all these things.
okay. No,
And
I
then there's also what happens is you get that morning light, and then at night you get light in your eyes. You're setting what's called your circadian rhythms or your biological clock.
yep.
So imagine going to a factory, and the night shift is still there cleaning up because they were partying all night long. How's the morning shift to get their stuff done? The night shift is still there.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly what's happening in your body.
Yeah.
It runs like a factory. If the night shift doesn't know what they're doing, the morning shift is not gonna know what they're doing,
True. It only makes sense. Yes.
right?
It
But no one
does.
thinks
Yeah.
about that.
And
Everything runs around that clock. Your
yeah.
digestion, your hormones, your mood, everything.
Very good. No, and I actually had a gentleman from over in Europe with the light because I had a lot of light. We had clots and everything in our bedroom, and he said, "Get all of that out of there," and that has helped with sleep greatly. So it's about as pitch black. One thing we're in a rural area, so that
Oh,
helps.
there you go. That's
We didn't
good,
have
yeah.
all the
Yeah,
light.
also you wanna get these glasses too on my website, the red light glasses,
Okay, I
because
wondered if that's what those were. Okay,
yeah, because you do not want the artificial light at night. The blue light, and that's all over the Instagram. I'm
it
not
is.
just
Yeah.
talking, right? I'm not
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
The artificial light at night is disrupting your biological clock, just
Yeah.
what we talked about 5 minutes ago.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if it's doing that, then it's disrupting all your functions,
Yeah.
causing you disease or
Yep.
right? So it's all connected. So now
Yep.
that we've had this hour conversation, people probably learn more than they have in 50 YouTube videos
I'm sure of it, and I know I've learned a lot too in this time period that we've been together. So I know you do grounding too. I think I saw that with your. So how often do you ground?
every day.
Do you? Okay, I do
Every
that
day,
too.
you want to ground every day and think of it like this. Grounding is your body's electrical nutrition. So when you have why they have grounding wires on appliances?
Yeah, I never
Throwing
thought about
throwing
yeah,
fires.
yeah, right.
So what they're doing is preventing electricity from going to a different path, causing it to not stay in the wire, right? So it's gonna if it goes, so it's providing electrons a place to go that's safe into the ground where there's an endless supply of electrons, right? So it's providing a safe
Yeah,
route for excess electricity to go.
okay.
So what's going on is it prevents a fire because it's preventing electrons from leaking out or
Right,
causing,
right,
right?
right.
So when you don't ground yourself,
Yep,
you're creating a fire in you called inflammation.
so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Does that
and the
make
first
sense? So you're grounding yourself every day to recharge your batteries in an analogous way. You're basically recharging your batteries. Everybody's walking around with a half charged battery
like
because
a
no one's grounding themselves.
nope. And, before 2018, I didn't even know what grounding was. I went to a conference in San Diego, in
Yep.
California, and
Yep.
that was the very first thing, and it's like, "What is grounding?" I'd never done it, I didn't know what it was,
Grounding, yeah,
and
grounding is, yeah, it's basically your electrical nutrition. You are recharging your batteries.
yep,
So you sit in your grass outside for 15 minutes a day with
yep,
your hands on the grass, barefoot, knowing that, and not to mention there's something called the Schumann resonance of the earth. The Schumann resonance is a frequency that's about 7.83 hertz. What
okay.
does that do? That restores all cellular function. So
Wow.
that very gentle hertz of the
Uh-huh,
earth's frequency is restoring and structuring your water and restoring your cellular function. The ones we're using now, so imagine instead of 7.83 hertz, which is
okay,
the wavelength of
uh-huh,
the
sure,
waves, right?
right.
Frequencies of cell phones are 1 billion hertz. So
Wow!
going
I had
like
no
this.
idea.
So
Wow.
that's not native. It's way too fast.
It's
It's
really
way
way too
too
fast.
fast.
Wow.
That's so when you ground yourself, you're getting that gentle wave that's restoring all bodily functions. And that Schumann resonance structures your water. The sunlight structures your water. Yeah, it's all
It's
the reason I know all this stuff because it's just so fascinating.
it is
To,
fascinating, yes.
because
It is.
it's all connected, and when you understand that, you have agency over your own health just like that. Like, okay, now Benjamin said this. Okay,
Yeah,
well that all makes sense. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this. I feel better.
yep,
It's just, and I'm not saying it's gonna cure anything, but what I am saying is I'm very confident you
mhm.
will see significant improvement in your symptoms without question. I know that for a
I would
fact.
agree too. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
there's no question about that. And how far along you are, I don't know, when whatever disease you have,
sure.
but but it's a roadmap to get you to as healthy as you can, so you can
Yep,
be there for your kids and your grandkids and
yep.
whatever.
Because health is the ultimate wealth, and, I've heard that most of my life, and it is.
It is.
So,
If you don't have that, you don't have anything.
you do not.
You don't have
So
anything. And what I've done with my book and my audiobook and my model is I've given people this roadmap that can help them because
mhm. Yes.
before we go, one other thing. I was I would reach out to people on different groups on Facebook, some people that are in different groups with chronic diseases, right?
Mhm.
Try to say, "Hey, I got some answer for I'd love to try to help." No response. But it's so depressing to see these people
You
suffering
can
with these
see that.
symptoms,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, I took this drug, and I feel horrible. I've been
Yep.
sick for 20 years."
Yeah.
And it really makes me sad, Mark,
I can see
because
why.
I
Yeah.
have now you know why, because I
Yeah.
know so much
Yep.
that I feel like, am I the only one that I am the only one that knows what I know, but it's like I have some answers that might make you feel better.
Yep.
And it's so depressing and
Yeah.
saddening to watch these people struggle.
Well, you have a heart to help. I mean, your heart, you truly want to help people, and it comes through really well. I mean, very good. And I think that's why I love talking to you. I mean, I think resonate on that, and I all this has been great this last hour, and And I got to ask you, since this is Dreamcatcher podcast, I always ask the guest, when you were growing up, did you think what were your dreams when you were growing up? Did you think you'd be doing something like this?
Yeah, I thought, I wanted to be a naturopath when I was probably,
Really? Okay.
yeah, a teenager or something. I thought, not maybe not doing this. I did not be doing writing a book and doing all this stuff, but
Uh-huh.
I did I did like science a lot.
Okay.
So, meteorology, biology, study of weather. Because once again, because 'cause I'm always wondering, "Why does this happen? Why does
Yeah,
lightning do
I
this? Why
definitely
does"
understand that.
Yeah, so, and so it's that science mentality that I have that
Yep.
trying to
Yep.
understand things,
Yeah,
and so this is the ultimate culmination of that.
it is. And I can't wait for the world to find you. I mean, like I said, I think it's very soon. And
Well, also, if you could do me a favor, like, on Instagram, if you could tell people or, I know
I will do
you
shout
yeah.
outs all over for you.
Yeah,
So
yeah, whatever you can do, because there's a lot of great people out there. There's a lot of
yeah.
influencers that really know what they're talking about. But I mean, and not to brag, but I don't think there's any, or maybe very few, that know what I know, or the depth of what I know in terms of why things are happening. So someone might talk about, cholesterol is not the enemy,
Yep.
and sugar is. Well, do you know what structure water is? Do you know what energy and why the
Mhm.
water does? So the depth of my understanding, I believe, um, is very few people. Very
Yeah.
few people.
No, I mean, you're a gift. You are. I mean, I am so glad that the universe and God crossed our path. Very, very much. And I look forward to talking maybe on another podcast in the near
Yeah,
future.
anytime you want. Like I said,
Uh,
just
I
you
mean,
name it. Anytime you want me on your podcast or
okay.
anyone else,
I appreciate that.
that's my goal, is to get this thing out there, and
Yes.
you're the first person. To be honest with you, Mark, you're the first person that's really took an interest in what I'm doing on these podcasts. It's
Well, you're doing amazing things and awesome things, and the world needs to know.
Well, I know, but you'd be surprised. All the other podcasts I've been on, people don't even care. I'm like, I
That's
don't know. It's like, it's
that's
weird.
too bad on a lot of levels.
I don't
So
understand. I don't understand. But yeah, so the fact that you really understand what I'm doing and taking an interest in it, makes me feel really good, because I've been on 50 other podcasts,
wow.
and um, you know, whether they followed my information or not, I have no idea, but they didn't spread it. They didn't get it like you do, in a
You
weird
bet.
way. They didn't get it. I don't know why.
Hmm.
They didn't get it. So it's
That's a shame.
I know.
That is really a shame. So, well, I hope to meet you in the future if you come to Nebraska.
Wow.
And I'm just gonna say I'm gonna meet you in the near future. I don't know where it's gonna be at, but I'm putting that out to the universe. And but Ben, thank you so much for being on the Dreamcatcher podcast. Ben, I don't think I've said wow in an hour for so much. I mean, I learned so much,
I appreciate it.
and I love learning. And and I hope people take this seriously when they, listen to this podcast or wherever you're at. So, and yeah, I feel honored to have talked to you and had you on the podcast. And thank you for what you're doing. I
Thank you
mean,
very much.
I'm truly, you are a gift. So on that, I'm going to end the podcast. You have a good rest of your day and take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.